So, ready for story time, anyone? All right. One day, an elderly couple decided to go on a trip with their camel. Now, they could ride the camel, but there was one small issue. At least one of them had to walk on the ground to lead the camel at all times. So, the kind old grandpa decided to let his wife ride the camel first as they started their trip. Soon enough, the people around them started muttering things about them. That selfish old woman shouldn't let her poor husband walk while sitting so tall on that camel. Sorry. Oh, and they could hear all the little things that the people around them were saying about them. That poor old man shouldn't let his wife treat him like that. And so, the grandma gets off, and on goes the grandpa. The people around them started talking again soon. That old man is so careless. Why would he let a woman walk when he can obviously get off the camel and give her the seat? That old idiot's probably too fat to walk anyways. And so, they both end up walking, and no one gets to take a seat. The people around them never stopped, though. Their old age must be getting to them. There's a seat right there. Aren't one of them just going to take it? Can't they take the seat? And so, the two are constantly berated by these comments until they decide they can't take it anymore, and they just go back home. Being judged is terrifying. I would tell an unfunny joke, and my friends would just look at me, confused. Or worse, they'd do something like, Come on, am I really that unfunny? Come on. Wow. A thought is born within me, and it grows as time goes on. It becomes much easier to notice when I get less of a reaction from my jokes. Soon, it becomes an insecurity. I never stop telling these jokes, but I do less, and every time I do, I fear someone will judge me again. I'm forced to walk alongside the camel. Just one sentence. That's all it took to create an insecurity. Isn't that crazy? These insecurities play into most of my life, and it happened all because of my fear of judgment. Quoting ex-National Health Service Dr. Hannah Rose, in evolutionary terms, fear of judgment makes sense as relating to the need to survive in society. For our ancestors, being evaluated favorably rather than judged of any shortcomings would have meant a higher chance of survival in society. Think about it. Even now, success propagates your career, while poor performance may put you at a risk of redundancy or loss of income. However, just because it's natural does not mean it's unchangeable. How many of you guys here are athletes? Just raise your hands for me. All right, a good few athletes here. I bet you guys have experienced this situation at least once. You're in the stands. You get anxious, thinking, what if something goes wrong? What if I don't perform well? And so, you get more and more worried, and you start to fear stepping onto the field. When the time comes, you step on to your position nonetheless, but you just don't play the same. Your mind is elsewhere, worrying about how something might go wrong. You don't make the play, you miss a shot, or you make a beginner level mistake. That's going to leave a mark. What are the people watching thinking? The people rooting for me? My teammates? Are they going to judge me? And as you're overthinking, it happens. Whatever it is, it crushes you. You're terrified, and you lose the will to play. Fear of judgment and chronic overthinking, which are closely linked, takes a negative toll on both your physical and mental health. Not only is it often and strongly associated with low confidence, stress, anxiety, and depression, but it can also lead to symptoms like fatigue, digestive issues, headaches, and even insomnia. Oftentimes, people also experience negative behavioral effects as a way of coping. In a 2018 study of mental health, led by the UK Mental Health Foundation, 46% of the respondents reported that they either ate too much or unhealthily due to stress, 29% reported that they either started drinking or increased their drinking, and 16% reported that they either started smoking or increased their smoking. And the list goes on. Additionally, it's important to note that this survey was only done on adults. And for teenagers who have way too much time on social media, effects could be much worse. This is especially true considering that our brains aren't even fully developed yet. A few years back, I participated in a piano playing contest. I prepared for weeks and weeks, and with my teacher's help, I was confident. I passed in my first group, so this was the second group and the second performance. And as I walked into the room, I saw a few intimidating-looking kids. They had that sort of special stare, you know? So I'm just walking in, and they're just staring at me like... And so I was pretty nervous already. My mind started going places, already planning out every little possibility in which it could go wrong. I started my performance, and 20 seconds in, I make a minuscule error. It was so insignificant, I doubt any of the crowd had heard it. But nonetheless, I started panicking. What if someone heard it? I swear, I could hear some people in the audience whispering to each other. Why is this kid even here? He's horrible. And then the second error, and then the third, and then the last one. The first two were actually fine, and I couldn't even hear it when looking back at the videos that my parents took. The second two, however, they were bad, really bad. And so I remember walking back into the audience, embarrassed, mortified even. If only I wasn't afraid of judgment. If only I had shrugged those first two off. However, being afraid of judgment is so tiring. All the time, I'm overstressed about the 10, 20 or so insecurities just buzzing around my head like flies. And I can't focus on anything else because I'm too busy making up scenarios in which others might judge me. Obviously, from the previous two examples, hearing how others judge me and overthinking things inevitably made my performance suffer. So, why bother? Without the fear of judgment, then no one will have power over you. You're free, and your time and energy can actually go into the positives of life. Of course, you don't just snap your fingers and make all your stress and insecurities go away. You can't just make it all sunshine and rainbows. However, the insecurities that we all have, they aren't actually ours. No. They were other people's insecurities just leached onto every single one of us. Why? When someone judges you, it's actually rooted in their insecurities, which they gotten from someone else, which was rooted in their insecurities, and on and on and on. For example, let's say I'm wearing some weird-looking clothes. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I can wear anything I want, except for nothing. That would be pretty bad. And so, someone judges me. Nice outfit. Look at this guy. Now, the only reason he or she is saying this is because they're insecure about the way they dress. They judge the way I dress because it acts as a way to sort of boost their self-esteem. It helps them feel better about their own fashion. Just understanding the idea that your insecurities aren't actually yours, but instead other people's, is a great first step to not giving a damn. The next step would be to list out all of your insecurities. It doesn't matter if you have 10, 20, 30, 40, hell, maybe even 100. Just list them out digitally, on paper, or even in your head. And get to the root of all of them. After this might sound counterintuitive, but get at 5 insecurities that you genuinely care about and want to change, ones that you value above others. For example, I can choose to be insecure about my hair, but I can't choose to be insecure about my bad hairline or anything. I can't change that. Nor would I choose to be insecure about things that don't really matter. Who cares if my funny's a little weird? If I run a little weird? Once you have these 5 in mind, what you can do is just try your best and fix them. Focus on them. Don't spend your time overthinking on the others. Just focus on the key 5. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because, no, being secure does not mean having zero self-awareness. You can be secure without negatively affecting the people around you, which is why this step is important. The worst a bad hairline might do is give some secondhand embarrassment, but chewing with your mouth open is definitely going to make some people nauseous. Ugh. And the last step, which is arguably one of the most important and effective ones, is cleansing yourself. Now, when I'm saying this, I don't mean spiritual cleansing or taking a shower. Yeah, taking showers are important, but that's not the point. What I mean is taking the insecurities that you have and stop judging others for it. Now, I can't say that I myself have this step down completely, sadly, and I still judge people. But if you can nail this step, you'll start to notice that you aren't so anxious within yourself, that your insecurities don't feel as significant as they used to be. For example, you see someone who made a mistake during the game. Maybe it's a big mistake, maybe it's a small mistake. Instead of judging them for that mistake, try and sympathize with them. Maybe this wasn't their day. They had a rough day. Maybe they were feeling the same anxiety that I used to feel. They didn't choose that. You see someone who you think makes bad jokes. Maybe their humor isn't aligned with yours, which is why you don't find it funny. They couldn't control their factors, so there's no reason in judging them for it. Roses are purple and violets are orange. No? Then how come when I say, hey you're ugly, you get all insecure and self-conscious, if everyone here is just fine the way they are? Once you stop judging others for what you're insecure about, you stop judging yourself, and you'll be less insecure about yourself. Thank you.